To say that I'm disappointed with the reaction to Redfall is quite the understatement, and I'm going to get into why in just a second. So first of all, the overreaction of a lot of people, and I get that some Xbox fans are legitimately disappointed. I'm disappointed that the game isn't better as well. But with that being said, there's a lot of people that are just going out there making complete jackasses of themselves, saying things like Xbox should close down, they should get out of the business, become a third party. There's a lot of ridiculous things being said right now. And the funny thing is just that you don't see this kind of stuff for any other company. If this doesn't show you the level of hatred that Xbox has, I don't know what does, right? I get it. Up until 2017, up until 2018, Microsoft only had 4 studios. We expected a lot of them. It wasn't until afterwards that they got studios who could actually make games. From that point, a lot of those studios had prior commitments to make multi-platform games, and that's what they did. And then it takes time after that point to make a game. They should be given the same amount of time as any other developer to create a game. Now, with that being said, I fully do think that, hey, Arcane dropped the ball with Redfall. I'm not trying to damage control that or make that sound better, but over the last 3 years, Microsoft's first party has not released a stinker, right? We all know that prior to 3 years ago, they were releasing stuff like Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Recore, Rise, Son of Rome, these games that were like rated in the 50s and 60s. Over the last 3 years, the first party themselves, I'll give you a list. Here we go. Wasteland 3 is an 84 rated. Forza Horizon 5 is 92. Halo Infinite is an 87. Hi-Fi Rush is an 87. Pentiment is an 86. Grounded is an 83. Deathloop is an 89. Ghostwire Tokyo is an 82. Flight Simulator is a 90. The Outer Worlds is an 85. And Psychonauts 2 is an 87. And that's not even counting Age of Empires 4, which I believe was an 84. So every first-party game that Microsoft has released over the past few years, I get it. Not all of those are big games. Not all of those are everybody's type of games. But again, they haven't missed. The quality's been there. So people trying to use this argument for Redfall as a way to say, well, it's Game Pass's fault. Well, was Game Pass to blame for all these other games scoring incredibly well? Like, I get really confused at that whole argument to begin with, because I feel like people want to make the argument simply because Sony's boss, Jim Ryan, said, hey, if we put our game's day and date into a service, they'll lose the quality, which plays upon fears of PlayStation fanboys, because guess what? That's their fear, right? They want to feel validated. They want to feel like they're important. So, hey, they placate them. That's all it is. Jim Ryan is playing Sony fanboys. Why on earth would you putting your game's day and date on a service make them less quality? You're going to be making more money in the long run, and you're going to be able to get people to invest and have that kind of spaced out. So yeah, again, exactly what I've been trying to say, the exact point that I've been trying to make is people don't want to believe the truth. People really salivate at the idea of an Xbox game not being good, and this just really goes to show that is true, because people forget over the past few years that Microsoft's first party has really done a pretty damn good job of, getting these games out there, making sure that gamers have stuff to play, making sure that gamers have a good variety. And I feel like that is super important going forward, because you want gamers to have that variety. You want gamers to be excited about the future. You want gamers to be excited about where you're going as a company. And when we see that this type of stuff happens, people are really quick to just really throw any kind of realistic idea out the window, right? So basically, I had people come at me on Twitter, like usual, and say, when I brought this up, right? So I brought this up, and everybody was like, didn't agree. So I said to somebody had mentioned this on Twitter. They said that Microsoft should clean house, time to let Phil go and Matt Booty and some others go, because this ain't a good look for Xbox at all. And I said it's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. Microsoft first party hasn't missed in 3 years. A studio wanted to try something new, and it didn't work out. The amount of reach based off hurt feelings from 2017, when Microsoft only had 4 studios, blows my mind. And somebody subtweeted that and quoted it like I was lying, and said, haha, hasn't missed, huh? So I proceeded to list the games that I just listed for you folks. And literally, that's what it is. And so, can you guess what the response was for that? Overrated trash that nobody bought. Because look how fast this stuff changes. Look how fast the argument changes, folks. When you come at people with facts, and I've been doing this for a long time, and a reinvigorated crap gamer is the enemy of the PlayStation fanboys, I can tell you that. But when you come at me with BS, I'm going to slam dunk it in your face. I'm going to posterize you, right? You've been posterized because I brought the facts. You can look up these games on Metacritic, look up this stuff. Now, you want to come at me and argue, well, Microsoft didn't have nothing to do with it. Look, I will point you in the direction to multiple of these studios who said that Microsoft's funds and extra added development time and engineers helped tremendously with these games. Look at Psychonauts 2. That game wasn't going to have any bosses at all. Ended up winning multiple Game of the Year awards, right? So the fact that people go out there and say, oh, well, you know, we're going to downvote this game, or this game is the worst game. Listen, by the time this year is all said and done, we know that Hi-Fi Rush scored well, right? We know that Starfield is likely going to do well. And you might go, well, this makes me worried about Starfield, and this makes me worried about this. Bethesda does single-player RPGs well. Turn 10 does racing games well. What are those companies doing? Well, the RPG company's making a single-player RPG. The racing company's making a racing game. Arcane Studios is not known for making service-based games. This is a product of a time, likely, when ZeniMax and Bethesda were struggling for money prior to Microsoft buying them out, and they were trying to kind of latch on to the whole multiplayer craze. It's very difficult to do, hence Fallout 76, hence Redfall. Now, I haven't put enough time into Redfall to say for sure if it's a bad game. I do believe it's a fairly average game from the little bit that I've played, and I'm not going to lie about that, but the amount of lengths that people are going to saying, hey, you know, Microsoft should like close up shop, or, you know, Microsoft should, not be in business anymore, or Microsoft should go third party. I don't buy into any of that at all. I think that that's utterly ridiculous, and I think that people saying that have no idea what they're talking about. You know, if you just look at the facts, you'll see that Microsoft has done a really, really good job with what they've done. So wherever these people are saying, hey, Microsoft should pull the plug, I'm sure they weren't saying the same thing when Sony was releasing stuff like Knack and, Killzone Shadowfall, or, types of games like that. I think people were very kind of receptive to what Sony was doing. You realize that any company can release a bad game. Any company can take a risk on a game and have it not turn out right. But as far as I'm concerned, when you see some of this stuff, you just have to kind of scratch your head and go, I'm not sure exactly what they're thinking, but I don't agree with that at all. I think Microsoft, when we look back at the end of this year with the possibility of Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Age of Empires 4 releasing on Xbox, even Hellblade 2 rumored to release this year at the end of the year, you really honestly think with extra time, money, and manpower that Hellblade 2 isn't going to exceed what Hellblade 1 did in every aspect? Like, you're crazy to think that. I think Forza, Starfield, and Hellblade 2 all have the potential to be 90 plus rated on Metacritic. So if that happens, or even in the 80s, right, you're going to look back at this year and go, wow, they released Hi-Fi Rush. People really liked that game. 87 Metacritic, Game of the Year candidate. Starfield, Game of the Year candidate. Forza Motorsport, Best Racing Game of the Year candidate. Hellblade 2, Game of the Year candidate, most likely. Like, listen, they could all work out just like that. And yeah, there might be another stinker down the line for Microsoft, but for people to act like Microsoft shouldn't be afforded the same rights as every other company, I find that to be absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous and to the extreme, because Microsoft has done their best and put out extensive games that are really, really great. So yeah, I do find it a little bit frustrating when this kind of stuff happens, but I also think that Microsoft is on the right path. This stuff is going to come out at some point. What went on, apparently there's a rumor, I'm not saying I buy it, but there was a rumor that Microsoft didn't really believe in Redfall that much, and at one point wanted to cancel the development of the game. But again, how do you cancel that if you're Microsoft, right? With all the stuff that's gone on in their past, again, it's like a lose-lose-lose situation, right? You think it's just lose-lose? No. If they delay this game, they get made fun of. If they release it, they get made fun of. If they cancel it, they get made fun of, right? Honestly, tell me I'm wrong. tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. So yeah, this is crazy, but also crazy to think that no other company has ever done this type of thing or had issues or anything like that. Absolutely ridiculous to believe that. So let me know what you guys think. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. If you liked the video, and go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. Crap gamer out.